Hello and welcome. I'm your host, William Lou. You're listening to the Raptors Reaction Podcast presented by Betway for all your sports betting activities. Hit the QR code that you see here on the screen or follow the link you see in the description of the episode. Raptors lose tonight 111 to 101 against the Boston Celtics. God, I hate these Boston Celtics. We are finally done with the Boston Celtics. This is actually the sixth React pod between the Raptors and the Celtics this year, because the Raptors also played them twice in preseason as well. So this is just a whole lot of watching Payton Pritchard annoy you, Derek White annoy you, and quite frankly, the Celtics just being much better than the Raptors. And so I'm thankful to not have to see them again, because look, I don't ever like losing to Boston in anything. And this was just a lot of that this season. Of course, the Raptors did actually win their previous matchup against the Celtics. That was in Toronto. That was at least a bit of revenge against the loss where the Raptors lost by like 52 points against the Celtics earlier this year around the New Year. So all that to say, good riddance to the Boston Celtics. This will be the last time we talk about you, at least in a React Pod context. So yeah, I mean, look, the Celtics got off to a nice start. A bit of a weird game in this one because of the fact that neither team had their centers available. If there's one player on the Raptors that has played well against Boston this year, two actually. RJ's actually played pretty well against Boston, but the player who has played the best against the Boston Celtics this year has been Jakob Poeltl, who was held out of this game once again. He was listed as questionable, but he continues to miss time with the hip pointer that has also limited him since before All-Star break. Call it what you want. Call it just extra precaution. Call it, tanking. Call it just a case of maybe he really isn't available day to day. But certainly when you're looking to add some more losses to the tally down the stretch here, it certainly helps that Jakob Poeltl is not in the lineup, because he has actually played quite well against Boston. So you didn't have Jakob for Toronto, and then on Boston's side, you didn't have Kristaps Porzingis, you didn't have Al Horford. You barely had bigs in this game, and this two starting lineups, both basically starting with wings. And yeah, the Raptors had Mobo as their de facto five. For some reason, Torrey Craig is on the Celtics. I guess I learned that today, was that Torrey Craig's on the Celtics. He started for them as well. But like, yeah, I mean, ultimately, like that, it just kind of, like, for my personal preference, I don't really like seeing just wings versus wings. It kind of makes for an ugly game. So much dribbling on the perimeter. So little sort of like, I don't know. I guess when everyone's playing the same and they're physically the same, it doesn't necessarily lead to like the mismatches that I feel like kind of create sort of that sense of diversity in basketball, in terms of like you're getting someone in the post and then you got to double that post or something like that. It just didn't necessarily feel like that. However, like, the big difference in this game was just Boston's execution on offense. It was just sharper than Toronto's, quite frankly. Toronto had some really costly turnovers. And when you look at the final tally, 16 for Toronto, 14 for Boston, it doesn't look that bad. But I'm telling you, at the start of this game, some really frustrating turnovers. 2 by RJ, 1 by IQ, where Raptors were on a fast break. It was like a 4-on-2 fast break, but RJ tried to push the past the initial break of the defense himself, gets a turnover and goes the other way for a dunk. Then IQ had an opportunity where, there was like 3 guys on him, and if he could just like slide the pass anywhere, whether that was towards the rim or even towards the wing, that would have been an easy Raptors basket. Instead, it was a turnover, and the Raptors go the other way, and they give up a 3. And then a third one by RJ, this time when the Celtics were in a zone. RJ was just trying to cut the ball into the post where Mobo had it in the middle of the floor, was just trying to enter the ball, but was too sloppy with it and got it turned over. Some of those plays, Boston certainly definitely better transition defense, but maybe just in general, the Raptors, especially because, again, like the difference wasn't that big. It was only 10 points in this one. Those possessions become really costly when it comes to sort of just like, the mistakes that you're going to have to learn from. I think down the stretch, the Raptors certainly gave themselves, a puncher's chance, you know what I mean? At least to make it kind of interesting. The Raptors were down, 7 points in several possessions there, and they just weren't necessarily able to finish out some of those plays. There was a really nice sequence where Jamal Shead got into Derek White, pressured him, applied a bunch of ball pressure, and then stripped it out on the baseline right in front of the Raptors bench with like 2 seconds left in the shot clock. He went over to high-five his teammates, completely left Ulrich Shamshay hanging. Sorry, Ulrich, but Boston called a timeout with 2 seconds left, and on that ensuing timeout, the Raptors gave up a layup going right to the basket with 2 seconds left. I mean, I don't care what the play is. That's not good execution wise, especially down the stretch. And then you could look at things like Grady Dick sort of losing the handle and sort of getting bumped off the ball a couple of times in those sort of sequences. IQ struggling to sort of put his impact on this game. A late pull up three attempt did not go in. When you look at the overall 3-point percentages, I mean, it was not strong either end. Boston went 15 of 51, which is just nasty to look at, bro. 15 of 51 is just a sick number, but that's 29%. And then Toronto, an even nastier number, 5 of 33 for 15%. So, yeah, I mean, like, you can make the argument a couple more threes drop here or there. Certainly IQ going 0 for 6 is pretty bad considering the fact that he's actually been quite hot lately. RJ Barrett's also been knocking down some threes lately. He went 1 for 5. And then Scottie Barnes had some pretty open ones, goes 0 for 5 for himself. Mobile went 0 for 2. Grady went 2 for 7. I mean, the only guy who actually knocked down the threes was Ochai Agbaji with 2, corner threes that he knocked down. He was 2 of 2. But, like, 3-point shooting was just a struggle for the Raptors. I mean, you put all that aside, though, and it's a lot to put aside. I actually really like this game for the intensity that was played with. I mean, the Raptors certainly could have come into this one and really rolled over. When they don't have Jakob, their defense gets really, out of sorts. But I actually thought they competed really hard defensively in this one. The game was threatening to go away from the Raptors at the beginning. It was 35-24 after the first quarter. Raptors were turning it over. They weren't executing well. They weren't knocking down the threes. So a lot of that was kind of in jeopardy. But I thought it was actually Scottie Barnes who really set the tone and really like kind of grabbed the Raptors by the neck and sort of like pulled them back into the game. And as far as leadership goes, we could talk about sort of like, what he says and what he doesn't say. Of course, like that's been improving too, I would say. Since the Raptors have hired a media coach for him, essentially. But like, what I like to see is like the determination on the court, and I thought that ever since the start of the season, but especially of late, you could definitely tell the specific tone that he's trying to set on the defensive end. I think back to the first shift of the game when the Raptors came out with their starting five. Felt like Scottie didn't even touch the ball that much offensively. He was sort of like letting RJ run the action, and those guys were primarily the ones looking to get going, and so was Grady Dick. Scottie with the starting lineup was mostly focused on stopping his assignment. In this case was Jason Tatum, although he spent a lot of possessions guarding Jaylen Brown as well. But the intensity was there, man. And in the start of the second quarter, when it was Scottie plus, mostly bench guys, he was taking the onus to not only play a great game defensively, but really, really attack offensively. And I love seeing that first 2 minutes of the second quarter, Scottie drew 3 shooting fouls. One was an and one over Derek White from the mid-range. Was aggressive, got to a spot, rose up, and just got fouled, and he made the shot. It kind of rolled in. Another 2 where he drove it hard, and Nemias Queta, first time he put him under the basket, got for a layup. Second time, put him under the basket, got fouled, got to the foul line. Another time he drove, got fouled as well. So I just thought the intensity was there, and he was yelling and he was screaming. And I thought that like that energy really brought up the whole team because this game was really trending towards it being a blowout, kind of being decided all the way through. But the Raptors really, when you look at it, I mean, they have been quite competitive in the last month or so. And a lot of that has become a product of their improved defense. And so you actually saw their defensive intensity pick up. Now, granted, like it's not really that great to play just like a couple minutes of like aggressive defense against Boston because, they're going to sort of keep coming back at you. But I thought basically after a slow start defensively for the Raptors, and some of that was truly just turnover induced. Like when you turn the ball over on a 4-on-2 fast break, that means it's a fast break going the other way, and there's nothing you can really do about it. Like that stuff you got to cut out. But in general, the Raptors actually locked in defensively from that point forward. I mean, it helped that Boston couldn't really knock down the threes. It helped that the Boston Celtics didn't have size on their side, and so they kind of primarily had to play from the perimeter. But the Raptors really competed. They really fought. They really gave a great effort. I thought Scottie, as the best player of the team, like really consistently gave that sort of like that push. And I think my takeaway after a game like this is I just want the other guys to give their best as well. And there were some of these sequences that stand out to me where it's like down the stretch, I think it was like a 7-point game, but like down the stretch, so like everything's important. Scottie's like digging into Jason Tatum. Tatum's like elbowing him back, trying to create space. They're playing one-on-one. Scottie plays great defense, forces Tatum into a tough turnaround jumper. Tatum can make those, but still, as good of defense you can really do, Scottie forces the miss. And then, so at that point, all the Raptors teammates need to do is get the rebound. And there's 4 guys standing around. And of all people, Payton Pritchard sneaks in and gets the offensive rebound, resets, kicks it out. I think Tatum got a corner 3 off of that. And it's like, you can't make Scottie do the hardest thing, and the other guys who don't have to do as much as him can't even do the easier thing, right? Like, I think in this game, seeing IQ sort of get targeted by the Celtics defense, saying we want to put IQ in the pick and roll. We want to set an off-ball screen to bring IQ into the next screen for the ball so that he can then switch on to Tatum. When you're trying to pass IQ along 2 different defenders so that he can get on Tatum at the end there, I mean, Grady Dick's out there and they weren't even attacking him that hard. You know what I mean? Like, that's where he's got to show a more of an intensity in terms on the defensive end. I think it really stands out all season when the backups have been Davion Mitchell and Jamal Shead, that the defensive intensity with the starting point guard isn't as strong as those guys. Now, of course, IQ is a much better offensive player. He didn't show it tonight because he didn't make it, but we saw, for example, last night. Let's not be unappreciative. We know what IQ can do offensively, but that defensive intensity from the point guard position really needs to sort of pick up on that front. The passing from RJ, just like some of these are unforced. Some of these are trying to dribble through traffic. Sometimes a hit-ahead pass is not a bad idea. Some of that stuff I thought was poor. Sometimes, losing his man, like, I know that the Raptors played it to be a close game. Oh, Grady Dick, of course. I mean, Grady Dick, I think it goes without saying that, like, he's clearly a defensive liability. Like, I think what they need to see is like those players do their best. And I'm not asking them to be better than themselves, but I think when the leader in Scottie is playing defense at that level, the rest of the guys kind of have to follow. I mean, for me in a game like this, the only guy who really matched up in terms of the intensity of what Scottie brought was a guy like Jamal Shead, who played him off the bench for 18 minutes. I love Jamal for the quickness that he plays with. He really, as the season has gone on, learned to find the better balance between playing fast versus rushing. I thought, start of the season, there were so many moments where he was rushing it, so many moments where he was overdoing it. Nowadays when you're seeing Jamal Shead, he knows, especially in that semi-fast break situation, he sprints full speed and he always gets a step on his guy, goes fast as hell towards the baseline, and then he whips a wraparound pass or something like that. Of course, it's a bit risky, and sometimes that does lead to him having some turnovers. But in general, he's created a lot of advantages like that, whether that's to find the trailer, whether that's to sort of find a kick out for 3. He's done a really good job with that. And then defensively, I love seeing his intensity getting up into the guys. Like, I don't even mind so much now when he picks up a foul early in games for, reach-in fouls. Set that tone, man. Establish that that's what he's going to do. And then when he drives, he's a rookie, and I hate that the whistle is different for rookies versus like someone else. But like some of the drives that he made down the stretch, they were tough as hell. Like, he played through the contact. Like, at some points, he was like riding Payton Pritchard all the way to the basket. And Payton Pritchard's under there. That's a foul. If it was the other way, they would have been an and one for Payton Pritchard. But like, driving his full speed and playing through that physicality. He did another one to Sam Hauser as well. That's where, for me, it's like that toughness. And I know IQ is like way more accomplished and like a different player than Jamal Shead fundamentally. But like playing through with that type of aggressiveness and that type of intensity, I would have loved to see more of that. You know what I mean? And maybe in a game like this, you'll be even closer. Maybe it's not a 10-point game at the end. Maybe it's a 2-possession game at the end instead of a 1-possession or a 3-possession game. You know what I mean? But ultimately, the Raptors actually gave some pretty good effort. I thought this whole second unit played really well. Chris Boucher continues to give great production in the minutes that he played. 8 points tonight in 14 minutes. Orlando Robinson, outside of turning the ball over sometimes, he had a lot of size, so like the Raptors could throw it into him at the paint, but he travels sometimes. He just needs to like really gather. It's not like as smooth as like, you take it for granted, but like you throw the ball to Jakob and he finds a very efficient way with his footwork, with his finishing. He can finish with left or right hand. He doesn't have to go all the way to the rim. He doesn't have to dunk it. He can float it. He can push it. You know what I mean? Like, he can bank it. There's all sorts of things that he can do. And so when he gets the ball, he never dwells on it. He just like turns and finishes. Whereas it's like Orlando is like almost like one of those like strikers where he needs like 2 or 3 touches to like set the shot up specifically, and then he can finish from there. Tonight I felt like some of those he should have converted more of those finishes, quite frankly. Ochai, I thought he played pretty well. It's been a couple of really quiet games for him, so I thought he played well. Jacoby was solid off the bench once again. But yeah, I mean, it just like, if the Raptors made some more threes, it was there. But ultimately, they pushed a really, really good Celtics team until the end, and the intensity was there, and it was set by their starter. And of course, the Raptors lose a game that, we all kind of expected them to lose. So all things are pretty good. We're going to turn it over now to you guys in the chat. We're going to bring in co-host Alex Wong. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, buddy? Not a lot of hate in the chat today, except for Emmanuel quickly. Tonight's hater award. Everybody wants IQ out of town. So
I was gonna say, what did I not see the first comment before we even started the stream, where it's just like,
get IQ out of here. IQ is trash.
Come on, guys. IQ just played great the last game, man. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I really hate watching the Celtics because they're just so good. They're actually, I don't know. Do you find them to be fun to watch? I guess they do just spam a lot of threes, but
I don't find them fun to watch. And it's not even me trying to hate, really. It's just like, I don't like necessarily their style. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, when I said this at the start, I was like, when it's like 5 out and both teams are 5 out and they're just wings sort of standing around the perimeter, like, it's just kind of boring. Like, I don't feel like you got the same intensity, like the same type of diversity of plays that you can get when you have at least one big out there.
Yeah, but they're just so good, man. Like,
they are great.
Watching them against the Raptors, like just the speed that they play at, and just like the togetherness and stuff. It's kind of admirable, man. It makes me think about the good old days with the Raptors.
No, the guy I hate the most right now is Derek White. This guy just makes the right play every time. He doesn't ever waste dribbles. He's always just like pulling up for these, like, it looks like bad threes, but like he's knocking them all down. They're all from above the break. Yeah, he plays great defense.
And then he hits a three. You pan to him. He looks like a cute little baby with his bald head, and you can't even hate him. Like.
No, I hate him, man. He's like a he's like a nerd, man. I don't know. There's something about him where it's just like, okay, do something controversial, please, Derek White, please.
He should be in the Role Player Hall of Fame, man.
Absolutely, yeah. He's first team all. I guess the Zach Lowe used to have those, right? The Marcus All Stars.
Yeah, you catch those on Zach Lowe's Blue Sky feed coming up in April. Yeah. So
goodness.
Yeah, shouts to the Celtics. But yeah, if you wanna take questions, a lot of the questions tonight will cover a lot of the topics that we want to get to.
Let's do it. Okay, so it is time now for the Tangerine fan inbox, and Alex, let's go. Boom. There we go. It's time now for the Tangerine fan inbox. And I want to let you know that, Tangerine is the official sponsor of the Toronto Raptors, an official partner and foundational partner of WNBA Canada and NBA Canada. And of course, not just fans of basketball, they're fans of fans of basketball. They're fans of fans who have their own nickname for each kind, the starting five, or fans who stand 5 inches from the TV all game, or fans who can recreate every player's layup package while sitting on their couch. And if you're hearing this, there's no doubting your commitment. Fans like you are at the heart of what makes this game great. So this year, for the Raptors' 30th season, Tangerine is turning the spotlight from the court to the stands and celebrating the way Raptor fans support their team, because this is how we fan. To learn more, visit tangerine.ca/basketball. Hey, big shots to Tangerine, because we actually had a situation tonight on the broadcast where the Tangerine fan angle, which they do after every game, and they showcase, like, fans at home, watching the Raptors game, whatever. But at the end, they actually highlighted the media game, which I was like, whoa.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
What did they show on the broadcast?
Well, they showed the winning team of the media game. So you might have seen your boy off to the side hitting up the W for.
That's sick, man. Yeah, we have a lot of questions about the media game, which we'll definitely get to.
Okay. All right. So what kind of questions do we have, at least as of right now?
Let's see. So first one here, Ken, because there's been a lot of talk about Scottie's defense recently. Can Scottie achieve all NBA defensive first team next season?
First team will be difficult. I just think that okay, so I think number one, the Raptors would have to have a pretty sustained defensive effort throughout the entire season. Basically, what the Raptors have done this for the last month, they need to do it for the whole year. I think Scottie's like stocks numbers when it comes to the steals and blocks are actually quite high, and so I think that alone will sort of garner him some attention. But I also think on that front, like people don't really watch defense that closely, and so it's kind of like what Darko said in terms of like, the media hasn't paid enough attention to it. I think that like there probably is a space where if people make some more compilations, if some more prominent media members, even outside of our market, but maybe nationally, put together like a Scottie Barnes' defense is very special. Or honestly, if it's just like the big time matchups, like one of the issues with the Raptors is like we're never on national TV. And so the majority of people are voting from the United States and they're watching national TV. Like I promise you can't watch a Raptor game from the States unless you really are a sicko and have League Pass. Like, and in one of these matchups where it's like Boston versus Toronto, but it's on national TV and the Raptors actually win the game because Scottie plays great defense against Tatum or Brown, that would sort of like perpetuate and really sort of like accelerate that narrative out there. But quality wise, like, yeah, I think he's in that mix of like, if he plays like this all season, and the Raptors have, let's say, a top 10 defense, like, yeah, absolutely. I think, he'd be first team is a little tough, but let's start with the second team first.
You should ask Darko this question at the next presser. I want to see what he says. Next one, also related to Scottie. What would you feel comfortable seeing Scottie attempt from 3-point standpoint, given what he's shown he's capable to date?
I don't know, man. I mean, I think it's I think, look, if you're going to play as many minutes as Scottie Barnes does and you're going to play as a point guard or as a wing, you're just going to have to take threes, right? Like, I'd actually rather see him miss and sort of take threes versus like completely turn it down and just ignore it as a part of his game. It's obviously not ideal that this year he's averaging 5 threes a game and shooting 27% from three. He's never particularly been a strong 3-point shooter outside of the start of last season when he shot the 3 ball at a pretty high clip. But I think that like for me, catch and shoot threes within the flow of the game, that just has to be taken. You know what I mean? Like when you are intentionally turning down a good look because you're not confident in taking it, that's when it starts for me. I'm just like, okay, that's an actual problem. I don't necessarily want to see pull-up threes in any context, at least right now. I do think that like where I'd like to see him is if he can get into the mid-range area like he did tonight. I think he knocked down 3 mid-range jumpers. Like that's really a good shot for him. But that pull-up jumper, it's like if you're not even a good catch and shoot 3-point shooter, which right now he isn't, then there's no need to like, also then try to do the hardest thing. So big shouts.
Yeah.
Big shouts to Rob. Sorry, I'm just distracted, man.
Yeah, don't worry. We'll get to that, man. Shouts to you, Rob.
All right.
You should also ask. You should also ask Darko this one too. Yeah.
What do you want me to ask Darko, man? Why do you want me to
just ask him all these Scottie questions? Because I want him to guarantee that Scottie's gonna shoot 60%.
Oh yeah, that's right, Darko. That's right. I did ask Darko about this, and Darko was first time. Every time I ask Darko, I'm like, okay, this is a cool question. I post a video, and then I look at his face, and he looks very concerned every time I ask him a question. Like Darko, I promise I'm not pressing you, man.
He looks like Liam Neeson in the first half of every Taken movie. He's like, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to my family, man?
Every time I ask about Scottie, he's like,
Didn't you ask him about 3-point shooting recently? And he was like, Scottie's gonna shoot 37% from 3.
So there's been 2 times I've asked Darko about 3-point shooting this year.
Oh my
Number
God.
1, I asked him when Scottie first came back from I think his ankle injury or maybe the facial, like when he was wearing the mask. I asked him like, hey, Scottie's been taking a lot of threes recently. I think it was like 7 a game at that time. Do you feel like that's enough? And he's like, no, I think I want him to shoot more threes. Like there's one game that he shot 12 threes and I didn't even mind that. Like I want him to sort of like shoot as many of those as possible. So that one kind of went viral just because he wasn't shooting the 3 well. So people were like, why is he doing this? And then another instance, I was asking him just more recently in Philadelphia when we were, just in Philly on the 12th to cover the game. And I asked him, like, like Scottie's 3-point percentage is a little bit lower right now. Like, is there anything you guys can do to get him like an easier shot? I think it's like a pretty simple question. And then he's like, no, like basically, like I really believe in Scottie's shot. Like he's putting some work in on it. Maybe he's doing some adjustments, but ultimately he's like, I believe he'll settle in at like a 37% plus 3-point shooter. And I'm like, we didn't have to put numbers on this. I'm just saying, right now he's at 27%. So, and he's never shot 37% from three for a season just yet. But hopefully it'll get there. I don't know. When you see Scottie, like, do you want to see Scottie shoot less threes? Like, what do you? I guess it's
He'll
like
probably,
a really
probably
like
shoot less. Like once Ingram's on the team, and maybe he'll take some more of those shots, depending on who they draft next year and stuff. Like, I mean, ultimately, I don't think anybody envisions Scottie to become like a volume 3-point shooter.
okay.
I don't think that's like really his role, and maybe part of it is just this season they're just kind of letting him fly, and maybe they'll rein it in a little bit next season.
Do you? I've seen some people talk about the idea that like, well, this is a developmental thing, so you want him to develop taking these threes in game. Do you buy that this is just development oriented?
Sure, I'm sure part of it is just like they're kind of just letting him, emphasizing some of these things for this season. I mean, it's a wins and lessons season, anyways, right?
I guess, yeah. But my only thing is just like it feels like, okay, if we're just gonna say anything that happens is fine because you can say it's development. It does feel like an ultimate like. It's not even like a get out of jail card, but it's because I don't think I want to put any of these guys in jail over like this season. I understand what it is, but to me, part of them just like but like, does that mean that you could do anything then? Like if he has a 10 turnover game, it's like, well,
yeah, but it's like different. It's different for different players, right? Like Scottie's the franchise guy, so you probably treat him a little differently than like letting like I don't know, like Jamal Shead or like Mobo just like do whatever they want.
Fair. By the way, Scottie's shooting 28% on catch and shoot threes this year. So like I think no, my point is that like even if you have Ingram back or like even if you run the offense differently, like that number has to improve no matter what. That number has to improve no matter what. The pull up 3-point percentage,
or he should just not shoot them. Yeah.
No, but like okay, if you're not shooting them, then you get into like the Ben Simmons territory.
Sure.
Like it actually like hurts your offense.
He's got parts of his like game and stuff. He's developing his mid range and things like that. Just don't ever invoke Ben Simmons, man. Come on.
No, I know. I'm just saying like it breaks down your offense if you're never going to shoot a three.
No, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Shouts to Robert Marash with the $399.99 donation.
That's crazy.
He also is just driving home from the game right now and wanted us to give a quick shout out to his friends Chris and Jody. So shouts to Chris and Jody. What? They are Boston Celtics fans.
Whoa. Okay. Yeah. This is what it's going to take.
What are you going to do? Ask for money back? What are you going to do? Reject the money?
No, I feel like this is what it costs to actually have a shout out to a Boston Celtics fan.
Yo, money talks, man.
Hey, you know what the thing with the Celtics, every time I watch them, I'm just like sometimes like Brown just like does whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I feel like he's carrying the ball. I feel like when he posts up, he's like carrying, he's like shifting his pivot foot. Like he plays so physical.
You sound like Daryl Morey trying to like audit the Celtics right
now. I'm just saying, like it's some of Jaylen Brown's moves don't necessarily like check out when it comes to like the replays. But
no, that's fair.
No matter what Jaylen Brown's doing, sometimes he's up, sometimes he's down. Obviously, most times he's up. But Payton Pritchard just playing like absolute tough basketball at all times. Like surprisingly physical for a small guy like that too. Like there was a couple times where like Scottie was 1-on-1 against Payton Pritchard, and he couldn't really do much with that, which was like kind of eye-opening. So
yeah, Payton Pritchard's a pure
begrudgingly,
killer,
man.
Whenever he plays against us. No, but for people in the chat that don't know too, like Rob, I think we've mentioned this before, has always been very generous when we've done live events with Chris Boucher, Bobby Webster, just donating money to like charitable causes and stuff. So we always appreciate Rob, because I see people in the chat think this is a random Celtics fan donating money to us. No, Rob's been a huge supporter.
Rob's the farthest thing from a Celtic fan, I'll promise.
Yeah. Rob is the most loyal, dedicated Raptors fan that I know. So W's in the chat for Rob.
There you go. So, Rob, hit my EMT next time, man.
Appreciate. Me too, please. All right, let's see. Next one here. Did you see that according to another betting site, which we can't mention, that Joel Embiid, the Raptors are favorites to land Joel Embiid next season if the Sixers decide to trade him.
You're not favorites to do anything if you're plus 1,500. I'm just saying that much, okay?
But they are the favorites. Yeah, so Embiid is consulting, doctors on what to do because, he just hasn't been right all season. And, the Sixers are crashing out real hard right now. Trailed the Bulls by 50 last night at home. So, someone in the chat just wanted your thoughts on Joel Embiid to the Raptors.
Yeah, I kind of would low-key hate if this happened.
I feel like you would talk yourself into it after like 2 days.
I don't think it's hard to talk yourself into when he's healthy, an MVP level player. But I don't want to say goodbye to all the slander. I actually prefer him as an opponent, so we can slander him.
Can we? If we're gonna take a risk on a big, let's just go get Zion Williamson, man.
That's not
who I believe is off the market.
That's wide.
Who I believe is off the market now because he's actually playing really well lately.
He's playing great, man. He's playing great.
Telling you, man, offer that first round pick, man. I'm just saying.
I mean, listen, I actually also Embiid's gonna be a great player, but I don't think he's gonna take you over the top. I think that like there's nothing that he's done in his career to date that suggests to me that like you get him and it's a Kawhi Leonard situation. The Raptors win a chip, so I'm 100%
no. Embiid is
this.
Way too much of a risk, and
also he's just not fun to watch, man.
Yeah, on the downside of his career, Chad in general is saying that Alex McKechnie would rescue him.
We talk about Alex McKechnie like he's a magician or something.
He's gonna tie a red string on Embiid's knee.
No, he's got to tie it over his whole body, man.
Oh my god, he's gonna wrap him up like a mummy. So Embiid to the Raptors, that is a no for you.
No, I'm good, man. If the Raptors were sort of to make some sort of like splashy all-in kind of trade, there's a lot of other players I'd target before Embiid.
Yeah. Nick Nurse's days might be numbered there in Philly. Speaking of the 76ers, good luck with those guys type vibes over there, man.
By the way,
good luck with Lonnie Walker the fourth, man. Revenge of the Sith.
Yo, man, they pulled him out. He was like in Lithuania or something. They're like, I need him.
The Empire strikes back, man. Lonnie Walker the fourth.
I didn't know Daryl Morris watching EuroLeague like that, man. Damn, bro.
I love Lonnie Walker, man. He had that one out of body experience with like the Lakers, I remember.
Yeah,
but like, signing Lonnie Walker in February, man, that's a cry for help.
Yo, do you see Celtics fans or Sixers fans were chanting Roddy for David Roddy, bro?
There's no way,
man. What's going on?
There's no way they have David Roddy on their roster.
They got David Roddy. He played 11 minutes last night.
Oh my god,
was a +5 in a game where they lost by 32. So
that's crazy.
Not terrible, yeah.
Like the Eagles have won a Super Bowl and like Canada has won a Four Nations Cup since the last time the Sixers won a game, man. Like it's been a bit. We've been in Philly since the last time.
Oh,
they won a game. We were there for part of this losing streak as well.
We're hearing bad things about the Sixers side, man.
It's a bit of a race though between the Raptors and the Sixers right now in that tankathon, man.
Yeah, and you really shouldn't be. I think the Sixers. I think they've traded their pick to OKC, or their pick has somehow ended up in OKC's hands.
Yeah, top 6. So top 6, they would keep it.
Yeah, and I know the NBA doesn't necessarily rig their lottery, but if the Sixers were to finish in the top 6 and get some lottery luck to like get higher in the standings, I just feel like it's not fair. Like, I feel like they should be punished. Like, they shouldn't be able to pivot out of this season by tanking the rest of the way. Like, they should be on full account for how miserable this whole year has been. Like, don't give them no free handouts for what they've done this year. This is, like, they should just suffer. They should just suffer and sit in this, for me.
Yeah, no, this is somehow their worst season ever, and they've been through, like, a lot of bad seasons in this era.
By the way, do you think Nick gets another job if he gets laid off?
Yeah, I feel like it. I don't think his reputation is damaged to the point. Or you think he would go back to taking I guess you don't go back to being an assistant after you've been a head coach at 2 different spots, right?
I don't know, man. I've seen Scott Brooks on that JJ Redick staff. What do you mean,
not the Scottie Brooks plan. Oh yeah, I guess some of these guys do go back.
What do you mean, man? Nate McMillan is over there too.
But like Knicks won a championship,
Okay.
Like it's a different. Yeah, I feel like he would get another chance.
Yeah, that's a good question. Are there championship head coaches that don't get second chances? Or I guess this will be a
Uh,
third chance.
you'd have to. Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to dig back to really think about that one. Maybe chat can help us with that. Okay, let's
I
see
guess
what
Frank
else.
Vogel didn't really get a third chance because he got the Suns job, and then now he's not in a head coaching spot right now, for example.
Yeah, people are mentioning
Yeah.
Vogel.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. A question here: would you rather have Woj's phone or Masai's BlackBerry? So this week, we know Woj retired from the reporting game
Mm.
and is, I guess, like running basketball at St. Bonaventure.
Yeah.
And he is raising money for the school's NIL fund.
Okay.
So if you go to putabounty.com,
Wait, hold
you
on. Let
can
me see
now
this.
bid on some of Woj's personal items, which include some of his iPhones. So the iPhone that he used to break the Paul George and Kawhi to Clippers news is right now at $2,500.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm seeing this right now. Wow. Okay. Hold on.
And he's also put up some of his credentials. So his 2023 NBA draft credential, the Wemby draft, is right now at $900.
Yeah.
His 2024 NBA draft credential, Woj's final draft, is at $400. You can bid on his ESPN ID badge for $2,000.
Oh, word?
Yeah, and you can also have dinner with Woj.
Whoa.
Which is
wait, Woj is like moving like that?
$500K or dinner with Woj.
You can pay to fly on Woj?
Yeah, so you
Yo,
submit.
he's doing anything for St. Bonaventure, man.
So you can submit an offer to have dinner.
Why
to have
could you
dinner
fly on
with
Woj?
Woj.
I'm crying.
And a group of up to 5 friends.
Yo.
So that's actually pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. Like if you have 5 really you have 5 upper middle class friends who want to put money on this. Like I have questions though. Like, do you choose the restaurant? Like, do you have to like
you have to
fly?
choose what Woj wears? Like,
Yeah, do you
I
have
want
to
you to
fly
red.
to the,
I want the red tie, not the green tie.
Yeah, are we able to like record this? Like what's all the stuff? Like what's all the obligations? But anyways, his
Oh my
credentials
god.
and his iPhones are
Yeah.
available.
Here's the.
There we go.
Here you go. It's at 2,500 right now.
Yeah, 2,500 a bit hefty for me.
Yeah.
If anybody, I didn't know you could sell your like NBA credentials, like your credential badge.
Hey, speaking of which, I got lots of NBA
Yeah,
credentials.
if anybody
baby.
wants my 2019 NBA Finals credential, starting bid
What, you sell
is
that? Nah,
is
come
is
on.
$50. I also have because they handed us out individual media meal vouchers for each game in the finals.
Mhm.
There's an unused Game 7 2019 Finals meal voucher
Ooh.
with the Raptors logo on it.
Ooh.
Starting bid $1,000.
Yo, man.
Yo, Robert, please don't.
Robert,
send
don't send the money,
do it,
man.
Robert.
Hit the
Don't
EMT.
do it.
Hit
Robert,
the
don't do
EMT.
it. I don't even know where they are right now. Don't
Easily.
do it.
I was gonna
Anyways,
say, man, does people want my Rogers work badge? I still have my OMP badge, man.
this is actually a really brilliant way for Woj to raise some money for his school, in my opinion.
Yeah, you know what? I've never thought of like that's. First off, how does Woj have so many phones? You seen that? Like,
Yeah, he's rolled through a lot of different phones. Maybe he was playing the long game, and he knew that eventually he was gonna like auction off some of this stuff. So he's been like swapping phones and stuff.
That's crazy.
Jason Lee says, "How much for the PSA hat?" $50. Yo,
what?
Send 50
No
in the
way.
chat right now.
No way.
Send 50 in the chat right now, and it's done. Yeah.
No way, man.
But yeah. So yeah, if you want to bid on Woj's items, putabounty.com. Couldn't find a better URL than that.
No, putabounty.com is crazy, man.
What is this?
Who is he?
Sopranos season 3?
What is he, Django Fett, man? Like, what's going on here, man?
Oh,
no,
man.
but shouts to Woj doing this for St. Bonaventure, though. I think that's actually, it's just cool, man. Like, the guy went from like being at least at the top of his profession at the very highest level to just saying, I have enough money, I've done enough work in my life, I gotta prioritize my health, I gotta prioritize my family. I got to prioritize what matters to him. And it's like, he's always shown love to St. Bonaventure. Like, how many times have you just seen him randomly bring up St. Bonaventure on the ESPN broadcast in the past? And so for him to actually lend his, like, I guess, fame and connection to that program is actually really cool, man. And also, like, I'm liking, like, I guess I'm liking retirement Woj. Like, when he pops on podcasts and stuff. Like, I don't know, man. I'm not saying we should get Woj on the pod, but I feel like it's not even that hard to do now because he's doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he did a little Toronto circuit recently. I think he did an event with Jamal Shead to talk about like NIL
Right. Yeah.
Toronto. And I saw like Michael Grange and a lot of reporters in Toronto had a chance to like sit down and chat with him. So yeah, if we get the opportunity, it'd be definitely really cool to get Woj.
Yeah.
We can bring out some of our items and have them bid on it. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know if I want to stand to start this economy, man. It's you know, it's a slippery slope. I'll just say that much.
Yeah. And lastly, you know, had a lot of questions about getting a recap of the media game. So, you know, we might wait till, you know, Jerome is here as well to do like a full recap on the Banter Pod coming up next week.
Yeah.
But just real quickly, just congratulations, Will, to you and your team. So there's 4 different teams of 7 players. This was kind of like a NBA All-Star Sunday format with a round robin and a finals. So your team consisted of Amit Maan, Gavin Barry,
2-time
Jay Rosales,
Rosales,
Josh Lewinberg, Patrick B, Patrick Izzy, and Samson. And you guys were victorious. You guys, I believe I can term it as an upset in the finals. No, you guys pulled off an upset in the finals.
How was it an upset when we beat them in the round robin as well?
Oh, you did too? Okay, but on paper, I think going in the favorite was team number 3, led by Akil Augustine and Dwayne Watson. And shouts to the Score FC captain Joseph Cacharo.
Yes, sir.
Dorian,
who beat me for a jump ball, which is very funny. For a
jump ball, and also like he's a Dorian Finney-Smith out there. He definitely won the Twyman Stokes Award for Teammate of the Year. But yeah, you guys came out victorious. We can do more detailed accounts of the recap later on. But like, what do you have to say about your performance and the performance of your team?
Yeah, you know, I don't have to say anything, man. I'll let the video speak for itself. Hold on.
Quick buckets, we're down 2. Down 2, 1 minute. There you go, you got it. Need that. Yeah!
So
what a shot from Lou.
This was down 2. So we're playing 1s and 2s. Down 2 with like about a minute left.
That's right. That's a big 3, man. That's a big 3.
Clutch 3 from Gerald to tie the game.
Yeah.
Lots of other great moments too. Jerome had some big baskets. I put up a PJ Tucker stat line, basically 0 for 4 from the field, 4 rebounds in 12 minutes. Apologies to Savannah Hamilton, who was really disappointed in our squad overall. She was like yelling at us after the first game. She's like, I'm going to need y'all to get back on defense and play some offense as well. I was like, oh, damn, we got to improve at everything.
Yo, Savannah was killing me, man. Savannah was killing me because, listen, Savannah is very good, okay? Because last year at the media game, I had to guard Savannah at certain moments. Because, you know, I'm 6'2", Savannah's like 6'1", 6'2". I'll give her 6'2". Let's say she's also 6'2". But, like, this is the difference between, like, a guy like me who's, like, is never really an athlete. You know, I'll play pickup basketball with people. You know, we have a weekly run. I'll go there. I'll do the same thing. I'll just shoot a 3. But, like, you know, basketball, by all intents and purposes, is experimental for me, okay? It's something I've experienced. It's not something that I've actually, like, done. Savannah had played at a very high level. Savannah played for TMU, you know, Ryerson back in the day when they were known that as Ryerson. And the only reason her career didn't take off was because she suffered like 2 bad knee injuries. And so she had to pivot. But like, you could tell that she's hooped all her life. So when she's serious about like, you guys got to do better, it's because she expects like real serious hooping from all of you guys. Cause like, she has definitely like blown past me many times when we're playing in previous games. This year though, I got to say nobody was putting in more work on the defensive end than our friend Blake Murphy. who showed up to this ball run dressed like Kevin Owens. Okay,
Yeah, he
not just looking like Kevin
Owens in general.
Yeah, looking and dressing like Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
Okay, he had the guns were out. If you've seen Blake Murphy's Instagram, you'll see him sort of post thirst traps and stuff like that. It's like you've seen the guns are out. He's got the short shorts on. He's tatted up. And then he is out there strictly to play defense. Like I've played ball with Blake a few times now. That man does not shoot. Okay, he doesn't shoot. And the one time he did shoot, he airballed by 10 feet. I'm not even kidding. But defensively, that man stands in there. And for the first time ever that I've ever seen in one of these media runs, Blake took a charge, man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Blake took a charge, and it was against Savannah. Savannah was driving the lane, because that's what she likes to do, was to go to the cup. And, yeah, Blake stood in there for a charge.
Yeah.
And, we had refs, too, legitimate refs. So, legitimate until the final.
Legitimate, Yeah.
Well, professional. Let's say professional. They were paid referees.
Sure.
Paid by Akil for every foul shot. But, yeah, Blake actually stood in there for a charge. And then another instance where Blake tried to stand in there for another charge, and Savannah went in there with the elbows, because that's the other thing, too. When you play against people who actually played, it's a different physicality level. So she hit him with the elbow, too.
Oh, my God.
Oh, man. Shouts to Blake, bro. This guy came through only to play D, man. We had PJ Trucker with Blake Murphy, and then we had PJ Tucker as well, because you tried to put that toque on in the game.
I tried to play with the toque, and one of the refs told me after the first possession to put that shit away.
Because I swear your toque popped off.
I did. I think I was trying to hit some kind of jump hook in the post, and then when I fell, my toque fell off.
Yo,
and then she's like, no headwear. So then I had to go toss it. But then someone in the crowd, I don't know who yelled it, was like, what if it's for religious reasons?
Okay, what religion requires toques, man? What are you, Quebecois?
I appreciate whoever stood up for me there from the top.
It wasn't that serious, but I appreciate it, man.
Oh my god. Anyways, we'll have a more full recap.
Quick buckets, we're down 2. Down 2, 1 minute. There you go, you got it. Need that. Yeah!
3 is very far. I'll just have to say that much, okay? I know it looks like I'm chucking it up there like a child flinging it. I promise you, my normal shooting form is also pretty bad, but it's a long distance, and that wasn't my only basket of the game. It was just 1 of 4, but still.
Yeah, no, that was great, and honestly, it was a good environment. I feel like even though some of the games did get competitive, you can even tell from that video. We were all very just encouraging of one another, and super excited. Whenever anyone was able to do something on a proper NBA court. And if you guys have seen too, if you go to J. Lou's Twitter account, you can see him hitting a 3 and doing the IQ skip.
Hey, listen, Josh Lumber played really well. I gotta say,
I did see the haters pull the video, and they're like, "This is the guy who rips on Masai for trading for Brandon Ingram." As I'm watching a video of him skipping like IQ.
Okay, this is actually for me is just really it's. I guess I don't know. I guess you can't police the internet, but bro, we're just all trying to have some fun. None of us are proclaiming that we're great at basketball. There's some of us who actually played at different levels, but ultimately, it is what it is. You know what I mean? We're just having some fun.
Nobody's
why
trying to hear.
Why is Josh getting slanted over this, man? Why?
Leave J. Lou alone, man. Leave J. Lou
alone. Why do people have such smoke for media members, man? I just don't understand. People have conspiracy theories about media members. People will be putting a whole agendas out for media members. What's the point, man?
Oh my god. All right, I've been told. I did tell the chat to remind me when the Lakers Mavs game. Starting, and I believe it is getting going. But before we get to your 3 stars, so I know you heard, I think this is last week now. Wemby is announced to be out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
For the Spurs. So that's really changed the. First of all, terrible news for the Spurs.
Terrible news for Wemby, man.
Terrible news for Wemby. Get well soon to Pop as well.
Yeah,
so
seriously.
I don't know if you know right now the new favorite for Defensive Player of the Year on Betway is Jaren Jackson Jr., who promised
Jackson Jr.,
who promised Taylor Rooks at All-Star weekend that he was going to pick up full court in the All-Star game, and he did.
But
and,
he did.
But his team also got eliminated first. So Jaren Jackson Jr. is your new favorite for Defensive Player of the Year. Is he your favorite for Defensive Player of the Year?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, he is very good at defense. The Grizzlies have a pretty good record this year, largely because they have been pretty successful on the defensive side of the floor. He's their best player in general this season. Ja has really taken a step back to what Jaren has done all season. I think probably the strongest contention for him is probably Evan Mobley. He was probably like close towards the top of the favorites too. I would always say with Evan, I mean, Evan is also a very good defender as well, but it doesn't feel like, at least for Memphis, he doesn't necessarily have somebody like a Jared Allen to help out, the way that Mobley has, Allen to sort of fall back on. So it'll be pretty close. But quite frankly, my interest in Defensive Player of the Year kind of zapped away once Wemby dropped out, because Wemby should have for sure won this game, or won this award. And I don't know, man. We shouldn't just like let it slip by the fact that like he's now out with this like pretty serious condition. Like for me, I'm just like, I really, really hope that this is just a one-time thing, that he's able to come back to playing the way like Brandon Ingram has, for example, who had the same issue. Because yeah, I mean, like when he's actually able to play 65 games, there's no defender in the world you would take over 1B, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think it speaks to maybe changing that 65 game rule as well, because we've seen a lot of players because of injuries, because of missing extended time, just kind of fall out of all NBA races and like award races when they really shouldn't have. So Jaren Jackson Jr. Defensive Player of the Year, 2.30 odd on Betway. Make sure you hit the QR code below for all your basketball betting needs. I believe Luca has already picked up a technical, so let's get rolling.
Okay, your 3 stars from tonight's game. First star is going to go to Scottie. Just thought Scottie kind of led the Raptors on both ends of the floor. 21 points, 7 of 14 shooting, 7 of 9 from the foul line. 5 from 3. Of course, that's got to come up, but ultimately played a really good game. 6 assists. The defense was on point, forced several misses. That was fun. Second star, I don't know, man. Like RJ really did have 22 points and 8 rebounds and stuff, but some of the turnovers and just what, that wasn't moving me, unfortunately. I feel like I got a higher standard for him now. So Jamal Shead, you're gonna get that second star for me. 6 points, 6 assists, pair of pocket sixes coming off the bench.
No, brother.
That was pretty tough. And then your third star, I'll give it to Chris Boucher, man. For anybody who hasn't seen it, I came up in this game as a writer. But I quickly realized that both podcasting is both easier and also more profitable. So I have since pivoted and reacted to economic forces.
Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Rob. By the way, nobody just sent you $400 for a Chris Boucher piece. Although Rob might actually. He's a big Chris Boucher fan. But I did actually, out of sheer just like appreciation, was like, I'm not even going to get paid for this piece. I just want to put together this story about Chris Boucher and his longevity. He survived the trade deadline. He's now played more games as a Raptor than Vince Carter has in the same number of seasons. He's going to be top 10 Raptors most games played by the season's end. He's going to pass both Fred and Alvin Williams by the time the season is over. And, I think there's a good chance that obviously this is his last season with the team. We've already sort of seen him phased in and out. But I just, like, if he is gone, then I wanted to, at least while he's here, show him some of that appreciation, some of that respect. So over at Raps Republic, I actually wrote a 2,000-word feature, but it's light work. You could speed through that. That thing's like 8 minutes for most people reading wise. Like,
it's like a Norm interview.
Well, there's also a video too of me interviewing Chris Boucher. I saw some people be like, "Yo, Chris's energy was mad low." I have to say the context was that was at shoot around. He wasn't expecting us to interview him. So it's like literally 10 o'clock in the morning and he's showing up for work. I don't,
Plus, Chris is usually pretty low key like that anyways.
That's chill. But my point is just like, it was actually really, I think more, I'm not even necessarily asking you to read the story. I think it's just like, I wanted to show Chris that respect. So shouts to Chris for getting the 3rd star and also getting a feature from me. Because I will not be going back to writing features. I'll say that much, man. That game is for Alex Wong. For all the editors out there who want a feature in the basketball space in Toronto, there's nobody better than Mr. Alex Wong.
All right, hurry up.
Your Gerald Henderson Award winner. That is going to go, it's Payton Pritchard. It's always Payton Pritchard, man. I mean, Derek White, honestly, he hit some, like, every time he was open for 3, I felt like he knocked it down. But Payton Pritchard, 20.7 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals off the bench. You could just rename this award the Payton Pritchard Award, honestly. Gerald Henderson was great, but, like, what Payton Pritchard has done has been crazy. So that does it for the podcast. Thanks everyone for listening. Big thanks to all of you for supporting. Hit a like on the stream on your way out. Hit subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more of these live streams. And this has been the Hello Welcome Podcast presented by Betway.